Hey, this is Tom from Inspiration Metalworks. Welcome to another shop update, or as I would like to call today, yet another week that we're not going to do the knurling review. This makes 3 weeks in a row that I'm pushing it off, but there's a good reason for it. As many of you know, I've been working on the RX-7 brake project, and we used the lathe to turn down some hubs, right? Turn the rotor off the hub and get that going. We've been doing this on my trusty South Bend 9-inch Model C, which actually predates the Model C era. Mine's from 1937. I don't think they started labeling A, B, and C until 39 or 40. But it's a Model C, right? It's a screw cutting lathe. It doesn't have any, power feeds, power cross feeds. I use a gear reduction ratio to do anything for simulating a power feed. And so, it's a great benchtop lathe. I know many of you have used one before. Many of you, that was your first lathe. This was my first lathe. When I got this lathe, it was in pieces. It was in boxes. And it was sitting in a lady's basement. It had been her father's. And when he passed, she took it apart to bring it home. And it just sat there. And so I rescued this lathe. And it has, excuse me, it has served me well for several years now. But I ran into a problem the other day. And so let me bring you in closer and let's take a look. Hey, one thing before we get started today. I want to do a shout out to Tom Lipton at OxTools. Got my shirt. I know there's a lot of discussion on Facebook about whether the logo was supposed to look this way or not and all this confusion. Frankly, I like it. I like that it has worn. It looks worn. It's not really worn on mine. Maybe somebody else's was, but mine looks like it's good quality. It's there. It's good. And frankly, I'm going to wear it in the shop. So it's going to get messed up. I'm not worried about it. The whole purpose of getting this shirt was to support you, Mr. Lipton. So Tom, Mr. Lipton, I bet you liked that, didn't you? Tom, thank you very much. I love the shirt, and we'll talk to you again soon. Okay, so the lathe. Let me move some of this out of the way. We'll talk a little bit about what we're doing. I've got some cleanup to do here, but we'll get this going. So, as you know, I've been working on that project with the hub, and I had actually clamped on the inside of the hub to secure it. Some of you saw the photos of that, and it was a rather precarious method of doing my initial cuts. In retrospect, what I needed was an arbor or a mandrel to seat the hub rotor combo on, so I could do the machining work. So I started turning one, and given that I don't have a whole heck of a lot of a machine here, I decided to do a lot of this off camera because it was going to take a heck of a long time. This machine has its original GE electric motor. I do have the build sheet for this, and I'll pop it up here now. But this GE motor, it's only a quarter-horse motor. I've got I got to replace the belts. Right? Everything about this thing isn't saying, hey, this piece of 4140 is going to turn really quickly and easily. And I had 4140 because that's what I had here at the shop. I didn't have anything else, and frankly, I wasn't going to buy a bunch of material to do this. I wanted to make sure that it was going to stay rigid as I'm doing the machining because I want to be able to repeat this. I've got more than one of these to do, and I want to be able to do this over and over again. So running in back gear, everything's good. It's cutting. I've got some chips. I'm getting good. Can you guys see that? Yeah. Okay. But you can see if you look closely, it's tearing, right? So I wasn't getting the greatest finish quality on there. I made some adjustments. I played around a little bit. I don't want to grab too much of this, but I was getting this super stringy stuff, right? Which you guys can see. Changing depths and speeds, I was able to get better chips, right? Kind of got a good color to it. But ultimately, in running this, I noticed it was taking a long time. And I went to switch from direct drive to the back gears and then back to the direct drive, and I noticed something unusual. So I disengaged, and so if you guys don't know, this is how you engage your back gears, right? Now I'm in back gear. I disengaged the back gears. This should be freewheeling at this point so that I can take the pin, locate the hole, the register for it, and lock it in place. Well, we're not. In fact, I'm getting a little bit of resistance here. You can see there's oil. You know, I make sure that this thing is good and lubed. I lubed. I made sure that the spindle was lubed. I made sure the back gear was lubed before I used anything. You know, all of my oiling points I go through pretty religiously on this thing to make sure that it stays running well, because this just has felt wipers for oiling points. You've got to put a few drops of oil in every time you use it. There's some things that you oil every use, once a day, right? Well, so effectively, I'm down right now. The lathe is not working the way that it's supposed to, and what I don't want to do is do something that's going to damage it. So today's video, and I'll keep you in most of what I can, is I'm actually going to pull the headstock apart and figure out what the heck's going on with this spindle. Now thankfully, because I restored this lathe, I've done that before and I know it's there and it's not that big a deal. I also have a very good manual. For those of you who are just getting into this kind of stuff, you're looking at your southbound lathes, go on eBay, right? You will find this manual as well as a kit to do your rebuild. It's got all the felts, the wipers, the followers, everything that you need, right? Definitely get that. All right, so we got some disassembly to do, and I think while I do this, I'm going to take the time to do a service as well. It's time to replace these old belts. I don't know how old they are. They look like they might be older than me, so it's definitely time. All right. Threw a block of wood here just to protect things. It also gives me a flat spot to put some of these parts as we go. Let's take the guards off first. Actually, let me get a part tray. My chip tray. Oh, I'm glad I vacuumed and cleaned everything. That was the first thing I did. I went ahead and cleaned it all. I also took the belts off. Ordered new belts for this thing. It's funny. I've known it needed it for years since I got the thing, and it took less than 5 minutes on eBay to order a custom fit belt. Oh, you know what I didn't do? Safety, 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 Tom. I left the lathe plugged in. I almost hit the tumbler for it. Alright, let's try this again. This one is through here. So it is a frigid, yet another frigid day here in North Carolina, which some people might not seem too bad, but we're just not equipped for weather below about 40 degrees or so, I think. Well, that's not really true. But we don't have heat here in this shop, so that makes things a little more challenging. Yeah, I gotta watch this. Watch the balance on this. Put too much weight on one side, and this thing goes flying on me. Okay. We can now do some inspection. I might move you around so you can see a little better here. See what we can figure out. Let me see if I can get you a better angle. I suppose before I start touching screens, I should wipe the grease off my hands. Alright, so I'm working around the camera. This will be interesting. Now I see what guys like Jody are always talking about. Hey, look at that. We're freewheeling now. whatever we did just now corrected the issue. So my guess, if we look closely, see that little chip? Something was jamming in the gears. Oh, oh. This makes me quite happy that that's all it was. We do need to take up, as part of doing this, I had taken up, or I had loosened the thrust bearing here just to see if that was, oh no, look, that's actually causing it to lock up again. Take some of that off. Oh, over tight thrust bearing. Bearings look good here. There, you can see so the bearings here, they get lube from this wick. I see you've got a felt wick that goes along the spindle. So as you drop oil in here, the oil goes into the wick and it comes out, and there's enough that comes through and it actually lubricates this bearing here. Well, interesting. So part of it might have been the thrust bearing. So I can turn this, pop that in place and lock it. That sounds alright. Well, let's tighten this back up. So what I don't want is this thrust bearing to change on me. And I do not have the proper tip size for this, which is really annoying. I want to make sure I've got the right screwdriver for that so I don't strip it out. Well, this could be a remarkably quick service then. Oh, I see. Oh, no, wait. There we go. No, I did over tighten it. Just like that. Just in trying, because I'm pushing, I'm trying to hold it in place. And just that little extra action. Whoops. If we don't have enough preload on it, then we get slop, right? Which makes me wonder if the thrust bearing is going bad, actually. I wonder if that's what's going on. Don't remember it being quite this fussy when I rebuilt it. So it's not bad. I can definitely move it. Well, maybe it's a combination of things. Maybe something was stuck in the gears. Keep it now. It has to be this. It has to be this thrust bearing. It has to be something with that. That's all I can think of. So maybe I need to order a new thrust bearing for this and replace that thrust bearing, which sucks because I gotta take the whole drive feed mechanism off here. But actually, I guess it's only a couple of bolts. Not too bad. A couple bolts. Yeah. Surprised me that the thrust bearing would have worn out quite that quickly. To read about that a little bit. Okay, well, let's get this back together. We'll put the old belts back on it for now, and we'll see how it works. All right, we got it back together. Like I said, before we do anything on this lathe, we have to oil everything. The same kind of oiling mechanism is on the drive. guess you can't see from that angle. But before I do anything, I have spindle oil, and I put a little bit of spindle oil in each one. I'm actually going to give that bearing just a little bit for fun. Same thing, you got places to oil. Front and back gears, those gears you don't do every time. All your drive, basically any high speed moving part has a little oiler on it. Alright, there's that. There's a couple of them that are a little harder to reach. I do not have a super cool oiler like Adam. Guys like Adam steal them all so none of us can get them. I'm just kidding. So I just use a cheap little oiler, but it works. Love to get one of those nice Eagle oilers. Oh, I need to put some oil on the ways because I wiped all that stuff off. I use Mobile Bactra for the weight oil, which right now, with as cold as it is, it's a little heavy. And since I wiped everything off, I'm just going to go ahead and very liberally apply some, and then we'll just wipe around. Now I wiped everything good and clean first. I vacuumed it all, wiped it all good and clean. Yeah, we got nice good motion here. Oh, you know what? I missed a spot when I was wiping it down. Let's get this cleaned up. And again, we'll make sure that everything, even if it's not gonna see a lot of use, I'll make sure it's got good clean oil on it. Nothing else. We'll make sure that it doesn't rust. Figure this thing was it's produced in 1937. It's still going strong. Alright. Sorry about that. Not that I could have answered it with these oily, greasy hands. So that's good. We've done our oiling points. Oh, that's good. Let's just check the motor first. Alright, she's turning good. Apparently I dripped a little oil when I was oiling this. There we go. Alright. There she is. Running like a dream. Now, should be able to undo our pin. Freewheeling again. Good. Get in back gear. Come on. There we go. We're in back gear now. A little noisier in back gear. Those straight cut teeth. But take it out of back gear. Freewheeling. Wow, got a bird in the shop today. And there we go, our pin is seated. And now we're back. We're back in action, folks. Excellent. Well, I'm glad it was something simple. Like I said, order the belts when they come in sometime in the next week or so. We'll show that and we'll get the new belts on. And we'll see if it makes a difference in how well the lathe cuts. How much before we start to get slippage on the belt. Though I have to admit, belt slippage means you're not crashing. So there's one of these, pluses on anything here.